Hello, everyone, and welcome to our multifamily meetup. My name is Mandy McAllister. I will be serving as your host today. If we have not had the opportunity to meet, I am a small multis investor, really focusing on 4 to 50 unit properties. And if you've heard me speak before, you know that I have a really big opinion on if you go 4 units, you can get a great loan and have that shop for you. If you go really big, you can get a great loan product. But in the middle, things get lost. If you want a bank loan, you've got to go to one bank and really, get one set of terms. And then to shop that, you have to go to a ton of different banks. So I talk about the black hole of lending pretty frequently in my little world of small multis investing. And in my travels, had the opportunity to meet my new friend, Mitch Ginsburg. Mitch, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, Mitch is CEO of a group called CommLoan. And I was just struck by how revolutionary this idea is that I wanted to bring Mitch on something so that we could disseminate this information, because I think it's a real game changer for people who choose not to invest in this black hole size of small multis, because it's difficult to get proper lending. Or if you do, sometimes your cash flow is eaten alive. So with that, I just have loved getting to know Mitch. I think his heart is absolutely in the right place. And I think that this fixes problems for borrowers and lenders alike. So Mitch, I'm going to throw the floor to you. Please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and CommLoan?
Great. Well, certainly appreciate you having me on, and really excited to be part of this, Mandy, and share our vision and our story and our mission, I guess. So CommLoan is a online commercial real estate lending marketplace. We've been at it for 8 years, so we're one of those 8-year overnight successes, right? As you hear from most tech startups. And really what we've done is created the environment really to create a database and a search engine which matches any commercial real estate borrower with the perfect lender. And we've closed to date hundreds and hundreds of transactions. So I'm pleased to say it works. We have probably in excess of 750 lenders on the platform. So would be delighted to maybe jump in and share a little presentation we have put together. And I guess at the end of that, hopefully everybody will be absolute experts as to who CommLoan is and how we plan to change the world. So
I love it. A little housekeeping on that, guys. If you have questions, please do put it in our Q&A, and I will work to kind of serve as administrator of those at the end. So take us away, Mitch.
Great. So as you all know, the commercial real estate landscape is very fragmented, but the marketplace at this point, even more so, is challenging purely because of economic factors. I think everybody would agree that we're going through an interesting time. Interest rates are rising at an unprecedented rate. Different lenders are changing their credit boxes. Some lenders are going in the market. The majority are pulling back out of the market. So it's an extremely challenging time for anybody to know really where to go, who's lending. And unfortunately, I think this upheaval almost in the economy is going to continue for some time. And certainly, I believe CommLoan is the solution for this problem. So there is a wave that is moving through our economy, and the key is to stay on the right side of the wave. And really the wave is technology. And technology has changed every other aspect and every other industry currently, but except for what CommLoan has done, really commercial lending has not embraced technology. So we're in a complex, fragmented market, as I said. There's so many different types of lenders, and there's so many different types of properties. So from a property type point of view, you have your 4 main food groups, which is retail, industrial, office, and multifamily. But then you've got, your single purpose, self-storage, car washes, you've got hospitality, And not all of those are the same. So for example, hospitality, you've got full service, limited service, flagged, unflagged, multifamily, you've got apartment garden, you've got high rise. So it's very complex from a property point of view. But then to further complicate it, you have all these different types of lenders from your banks, and not all banks are created equal. You have your community banks, you have your credit unions, you have your state chartered, federally chartered, national banks. Then you have agency, obviously, you know, your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac lenders on the multifamily. You have debt funds, you have private money lenders, you have life companies. So it's really complicated. And for most commercial real estate borrowers, where do you go? I mean, you know, who is the best lender for you? And to date, the way that it really has worked, you'll find a lender who will at least fund your loan and almost believe that that's a victory. But was that necessarily the best loan for you? In many cases, no. And really, really excited to have the solution for that. So really looking at the rest of the economy and every other industry, you know, you had Blockbuster. Are there any more Blockbusters? In fact, there is one in Bend, Oregon, and it's almost like was going to a museum. I was fortunate to go to it and see the last remaining Blockbuster. But you know, with technology and the bandwidth of streaming, Netflix and a lot of these other online platforms have really replaced Blockbuster. You know, the hotel industry, even though that it's still alive and well, has very much been disrupted by Airbnb. The transportation or taxi industry has been totally disrupted by Uber and Lyft. I think a medallion in New York back in the day was worth an absolute fortune, and it's worth now a fraction of what it was worth. Sears is no longer, and you have Amazon and a lot of these other online platforms. So, and then you can go on and on. You can look at travel with, you know, Priceline, Orbitz, Travelocity. You look at dating services. So really, every aspect of our lives is dominated by online platforms that provide access to the data and search engine that synthesize that data. So Cupid is CommLoan's online platform, and it actually stands for something. Even though we are the matchmaker of commercial real estate lending, it stands for Commercial Underwriting Pricing Index Data. And what Cupid does is we have this database of now probably in excess of 750 lenders, and the technology will access that data and match the borrower with a perfect lender. But recognizing that we're dealing with a very technical product, this isn't like going online and buying a TV. There's a lot of moving parts in a commercial loan, and we truly don't believe that any commercial borrower is ready to go online, fill in an application and wait for 6 weeks for documents to arrive. They really want to talk to a live body. So we've really mirrored the technology with seasoned originators who will then be able to utilize the technology but still provide that concierge service to their borrowers and really provide the best of that personal touch with technology. So the Cupid platform and the CommLoan platform truly is a game changer in our industry. This is an example of some of the lenders. We have all the major lenders on our platform, you know, from banks to CMBS to agency, credit unions, SBA on the owner-occupied stuff, debt funds, and private money. So literally, if there is a loan out there for a particular property, there's a very high probability we'll be able to meet that need. So it's a very simple process. Let's run through it. The borrower fills in a very, very simple, short application, you know, essentially contact information and just what kind of property they're looking for. They then get a call from the originator, the loan originator, who will do an in-depth consultation, fill in the rest of the information into our system. The system will then search the database, match them up with the right lenders. Many cases, you know, up to 100 results could come up. But then the loan originator will still synthesize that data and get it down to the top, you know, half a dozen or so. Those top matches are then sent to the borrower. The borrower will access that data through a portal and review it. Assuming the borrower is satisfied with it, they say, all right, great, let's go forward. They can sign an exclusive or non-exclusive broker agreement right there and then in the portal, and then go ahead and start fulfilling the documentation requirements that the loan consultant or the loan originator would send to them. Once the respective documentation is received, the loan gets packaged through the system. Our packages are standardized, absolutely great, and the banks love it because the banks know, A, this is a loan they really want to see, and B, it's well packaged, well structured with all the underlying documentation. Generally, within days, the banks will quote the loan. Now, the banks get a portal, they quote the loan through their portal, and the borrower will review the options, sign a term sheet with the bank that best, or the lender that best fits their needs, and ultimately the transaction closes. So this is typically what the application will look like. Very, very simple application, very non-intrusive to get the borrower going. And then at that point in time, the loan originator will consult with the borrower and fill in the rest of the information required. This is typically what we call a pre-qualification certificate, but these are really the loan options that best size up for that particular borrower, that the borrower will be able to review in their portal and ultimately make a decision. Yeah, this really looks like several good options for me, and decide to move ahead with the transaction and provide the underlying documentation. The key to this is that the lenders selected aren't just like throwing something against the wall. These are lenders that we've matched up in our database that are a perfect match for that particular borrower. And there's a very high probability of getting a term sheet from that lender. There is the rare case that there might be an intangible that we weren't able to build into an algorithm. For example, they don't like the curb appeal on the property, or the the property is located near a gas station, and that particular lender had an issue with gas stations and an environmental issue. But certainly, if we sent it out to 6, if we don't get 6 term sheets back, we'll certainly get at least 5 term sheets back of lenders that are very interested in the transaction. This is an example of where the borrower would go ahead and upload their documentation directly through their portal. This is what the package looks like, very standardized, and the loan originator is able to build that package directly in the system of just uploading images of the property, writing a quick property narrative, and all the key tombstones for their property and the spreadsheets are all built in the system. So the package really will include everything that a lender would need to see in order to make a credit decision on that particular property. This is what the lender portal looks like. So this is what they would see when a package comes in. So the beauty on this, and I don't know if you guys are aware of the statistic, is 2/3 of all commercial loans funded are originated by third parties. So the banks are used to getting their loans from somebody else. And in most cases, the quality of the packaging leaves a lot to be desired. So what we have found, when a bank sees a loan coming from CommLoan, they clear their desk and they're happy to work on it because A, they know it fits their parameters, it's a deal they're going to want to see, and it's very well structured, and the data and the quality of the package is very consistent. This is what the loan quotes look like when the banks quote it, and the borrower would see it in this format within their portal, and then they're able to select the lender they want to go with. And very often the loan originator will have the ability of going back and forth with the top 2 or 3 lenders that are vying for that property, and get them to sharpen the pencil so nothing's left on the table for that particular borrower. The borrower would then choose the lender that they want to go with. At that point, they would sign the term sheet, pay for their third parties, and then CommLoan and the loan originator would still stay in the loop, holding that borrower's hand until closing, and then obviously the loan closes. So it's a extremely simple process and certainly a game changer for this industry. So what I'm really excited about is the Empower program. So up till now, CommLoan has really been working directly with the consumer. We have a phenomenal SEO team, so we're getting an enormous amount of organic traffic coming in. If you Google commercial mortgage rates, CommLoan comes up #1 in the search, as well as we do some Google ads. So up till now, we've been getting in a large volume of leads direct from the consumer, and that's how we've been funding the majority of our loans. But over the last few months, we have made this program available and our platform available to loan originators through the Empower program. So what does the Empower program really do for any commercial loan originator out there? We're providing better technology with the Cupid platform. There's far better marketing support because you really are able, any commercial loan originator is able to dovetail off our success, our social media success, our online success, and create a marketing campaign, using our branding and certainly have a far larger presence. We have very attractive commission splits, which I'll go through in a few minutes, better support, and we have a mentoring and training program for those newer originators that maybe quite aren't up to speed yet to go it alone. And then there's a future equity ownership model. And then there's obviously a generational wealth building opportunity through a revenue share model. So let's look at the Cupid platform. I've pretty much discussed that any loan originator would have full access to be able to originate the loans through the Cupid platform, utilizing the technology to interact with the borrower, the lender, and build packages through the platform. They're going to be able to utilize our marketing and brand recognition to enhance the loan originator's reputation. We have comprehensive marketing support, as well as leveraging CommLoan's social media. Our commission splits are unbelievably generous. We do a 60% split for the originator right out of the bat between 0 and 250,000 in adjusted gross commissionable income. From 250 to 500,000, it becomes a 70% split to the originator. 500 to $1 million, it's 80%, and then $1 million plus, they get 100%. The company does split whatever's left over with our revenue share model. So one way or another, just making it very, very attractive for the originator. We have, as I said, the mentor program. So any originator that truly hasn't been doing this for a long period of time, or maybe a residential loan originator who wants to break into commercial, we have a mentor program where we will team you up with a very seasoned loan originator, and therefore, even though that you may not have the level of experience, you'll still be able to provide that phenomenal service to your client. Those loan originators that do join CommLoan, we do have a future equity participation plan. Our objective is really to build this together and to share the wealth and share the value. Most commercial loan originators are on that hamster wheel of you're as good as your last loan. And we want to change that. We want to give you the ability of building up equity and possibly ongoing revenue through our revenue share model. And as I touched on, for those that might be interested at some point to talk about, we do have a revenue share model where you are able to build up ongoing passive income. We have a phenomenal executive team. I just feel blessed to have a team of really passionate, seasoned professionals that have pretty much been with CommLoan since the beginning. David, who heads up our transaction management department, Lindsay, who heads up our ops team, Eric is our senior vice president of loan origination, Vitaly, phenomenal marketing and SEO guy, and Piyush, who's our tech guru, who really has been with me since day one in building the platform. But then equally, we just have a great, very diverse, very experienced board that's been very supportive and advisory board. Greg Cole, who's the director of growth at Adams Equity, Steve Schwartz, founder of iWest, which is a huge real estate investment company. James Hung, who's the president of EXP Commercial, and for those of you who aren't familiar, EXP's just had absolutely explosive growth on the real estate side, both residential and commercial. Tom Mangus, who was the past CEO of the Starwood Hotel Group, who put the deal together with Marriott and ultimately sold out Starwood to Marriott for, I think it was about $13-14 billion. Alan Snyder is the CFO of PetSmart, and Cliff Freeman, who is one of the top influencers and certainly one of the most successful guys within the EXP organization, and just feel very blessed to have him on board and has been really and I think every company really needs to have a social mission and I guess a social conscience. And ours is Angel Strong. And I'll give you guys just a really quick 30,000 foot overview as to who Angel Strong is. So as you can hear from my accent, I'm not from Brooklyn. I guess I'm from South Africa, born and raised, educated in South Africa. And Angel Strong is an organization that we actually formed within the United States to support an orphanage that's in the rural part of South Africa. The orphanage has been going for about 30 years. It's not a massive organization, but one of these world charities. It's a private family that went and bought a piece of land and started taking in initially AIDS orphans, these kids that really come from the most horrific circumstances, and bringing them in, and not only to give them food and shelter, but really to provide them a safe environment, provide them schooling. There's a school now built on the property, and ultimately prepare them for a good, productive adult life. They currently have about 350 kids at the orphanage, and I think over the years almost a village has evolved and developed around the orphanage, where a lot of the adults that were related to these kids have sort of moved in, and so Angel Strong really supports all of it. And they provide healthcare. There's a little clinic there now. There's a school. Really excited that some of the graduates have actually gone on to college, which is just outstanding. And I think you got to be from Africa and understand the circumstances in Africa to understand how difficult it is for kids that come from that kind of a circumstance to ultimately make it to college and really have this enormously bright future ahead of them. So as part of our mission, every loan that's funded through CommLoan, we give a percentage of every loan to Angel Strong. I would certainly encourage everybody on the call to at least go to angelstrong.org, take a look at it, and if you feel this is something that's pulling at your heartstrings, even if it's a $20 a month and maybe skipping that one Starbucks a month, it certainly would change the life of kids. So really excited to be a part of that, and certainly hoping our collective growth and our collective success will change a lot of lives in Africa. So I guess that really covers it. Hopefully I went through it quick enough to leave enough time for questions and answers.
Problems from the loan originator side, and I like that there's a lot of heart behind it. So if you'd like more information, commloan.com, CommLoan.com, or feel free to reach out to me. I could triage your ask into the right people. But what a unique win to have the CEO himself live. Mitch Ginsburg, thank you for your time and for sharing your wealth of knowledge and this brilliant fix to the super frustratingly fragmented world of commercial lending.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Mandy, and it's always great chatting, and excited the opportunity of working together.
Yes, sir. We will be in touch. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.